Hello class, welcome to biology. This is Mr. Worley here. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to chapter 9.1, chemical pathways. Make sure you have your book, make sure you have a piece of paper to write with, and make sure you have a good environment to listen. Our learning objectives are to explain what cellular respiration is. Second is to describe what happens during the process of glycolysis, and to name two types of fermentation. Those are our objectives. Our lecture exercises are page 225, numbers 1 through 5. Glad you guys are here. Let's just take a minute and review what we've learned last chapter real quick. Last chapter, but what we learned was that in a process called photosynthesis, photosynthesis, light, carbon dioxide, and water come together and produce sugar and oxygen. All right? Pretty sweet. That's photosynthesis. Now we're going to learn about the other end of the coin. That's plants making food, but almost all of other species eat plants. All right? So how does sugar and oxygen become energy? That's what we're going to learn about. Okay, let's read together on 9.1, chemical pathways. When you are hungry, how do you feel? If you're like most people, your stomach may seem empty. You might feel a little dizzy, and above all, you feel weak. You may seem weak. The sensation produced by hunger vary from person to person, but the bottom line is always the same. Our bodies have a need for food, and they have their own ways of telling us when they need it. Food provides living things with the chemical building blocks they need to grow and reproduce. Food serves as a source of raw materials from which the cells of the body can synthesize new molecules. Most of all, food serves as a source of energy. Okay? All right, that's our introduction. Let's check out our vocabulary. Calorie, glycolysis, cellular respiration, NAD+, sounds familiar but not the same as NADP+, fermentation, and anaerobic. These are our vocabulary. This is our vocabulary. And key concepts. We've already talked about those. Now, let's keep going. In your notes, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do the reading strategy. Before you read this section, write the headings as how, why, or what questions about releasing energy. Then, as you read, write brief answers to your questions. Okay, so we'll do the first one together. So the first one is chemical energy and food. How can we turn that into the question? So in your notes you might write, okay, how is chemical energy stored in food? And you can write your own question. That's just one that I used. You can use mine too. How much energy is actually present in food? Quite a lot. 1 gram of sugar glucose, C6H12O6, when burned in the presence of oxygen, releases 3,811 calories of heat energy. A calorie, vocab word, a calorie is the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. The calorie, capital C, and this is a big important difference. See how this one is a little c and this one's a big C? This is a great quiz question. What is the difference between a calorie little c and a calorie big C? That is used on food labels is 1 kilocalorie or 1,000 calories. Cells, of course, don't burn glucose. Instead, they gradually release the energy from glucose and other food compounds. This process begins with a pathway called glycolysis. Glycolysis, and here's a great question, glyco means sugar, lysis means to break apart. Another great quiz question. Releases only a small amount of energy if oxygen is present. Glycolysis leads to 2 other pathways that lead to a great deal of energy. If oxygen is not present, however, glycolysis is followed by a different pathway. All right, in figure 9, moving right on down the line, living things get energy they need from food. Both plant and animal cells can carry out the final stages of cellular respiration in mitochondria. Okay, so basically in our picture it says squirrel, plant, squirrel eats plant, parts of the sugar and the energy in the plant go into the cell, which goes to the mitochondria where the glycolysis happens, where energy is released. Okay, so I'd like you to please go to the next video at this time.